Sports in the city. Sports in the city. We keeping it gritty with that sports in the city. Welcome to Sports in the City.
Peace out and shouts out, fam. Shouts out to all the sports fans across the world, every arena, every field, every stadium. Shouts out to you. Please hit the like and subscribe button so you'll be notified anytime we put out new content. You guys can log in and check out. I'm your man, BK Ty, along with my host with the most, my brother, Reed Richards, who's on mute. What up, Reed?
My bad, bro. My bad. Yeah, man. Thanks for the intro, man. Peace, God. We're back in Sports in the City, live from the arena. What's the deal, my brother?
I'm great, fam. It's a great time of year. Sports equinox coming up, hockey rolling, baseball playoffs in full effect, basketball about to jump off. The football season is in sway. Man, it's a great time for sports right now, bro.
Absolutely. True indeed. Check in while we're live. Leave your comments. Want to sponsor the show? Let us know. Indeed. Let's get to it. Strictly top shelf. The Aces repeat as they pip the Liberty 70-69. The Astros turn the tables on the Rangers. The D-backs strike back after being down 0-2. Helmet to helmet NFL upset games of the week, man. We're going to get into that round ball around the world, and we got a lot in store. Like you said, it's a sports equinox, man, where all the four major sports converge. What you thought about the Liberty, man, fall into the Aces, man? Let's just get to it.
It was inevitable, man. Game 3, they put up a valiant effort. They definitely came to ball, had a better plan that game. But Game 4, missing 2 players, the Aces were. Chelsea Gray and then the starting center Stokes. Right. Missing both of those players, and the game still came down to the wire. This game, it seemed like everyone showed up for the Liberty for a change. Well, in the second half. Well, in the first half, they showed up. Second half, they kind of kept it rolling and kept it close, but the Aces were too much for them, man. And especially, like I said, without Gray and Stokes, and they still pulled a close one out like that on the road.
Right.
Another thing, maybe a little too much chirping by the Liberty after they won Game 3. You got to be humble, man, when you lose the first 2 games and you pull one out and you're not even favored. And I think it was Asia Wilson. No, it wasn't Asia Wilson. I think it was Chelsea Plum that made a comment about at the end of Game 3, Sabrina Ionescu was walking off the court and did like a night gesture or something like that.
Yeah, that was Game 3.
Yeah, not for nothing, man, but let sleeping dogs lie. It's not like you had the greatest playoff, not like you had the greatest series, and then you out there talking junk towards the end of the game, man. It was just a foregone conclusion. Liberty had it coming to them, and I think the worst part about it was John Quell didn't even score double digits, man. Had a bad game. She could have been the difference maker to extend the series to that 5th game, but fortunately it didn't work out that way. So shouts out to Asia Wilson and the Liberty. Asia Wilson and the Aces. Shout out to Coach Becky Hammond, first back-to-back in 20 years.
Yep, since the LA Sparks in 2002. The first quarter, the Liberty came out like stormbusters, and they held the Aces to 13 points. And then in the second quarter, the Aces, they were going to come back. And they came back furiously in the second quarter, and they took the lead by the half, man. And in the first half, I saw that the Liberty were doing the same strategy as you mentioned before. They were using the same strategy and offensive plays that they were using in the regular season. And in playoff time, where it's do or die, you have to be able to, take it all the way.
You got to adapt. I think they failed to do that.
And Ionescu, they didn't do it, bro.
Yeah, she didn't show up this series. Stewart, she had a really disappointing series, man. She was big on the boards this last game, but still,
She went 3 for 18 for the whole game, man. She did a John Starks.
Absolutely.
So the Aces pulled ahead at the half, 53-51. And then in the third quarter, I don't know what they gave Asia Wilson, man. Gorilla Jew, she was a monster of the week, man. One of the monsters of the week. And they came back, man, and they held the Liberty to 12 points in the third quarter. And it just wasn't enough, man.
Definitely a monstrous performance.
She was a monster, man. She was killing them at every angle of the court, man. She was slicing and dicing, as your man Walt Frazier would say. And she was just like layups, fadeaways, just taking it straight to the hole, man. And she was killing them, man. So by the third quarter, they had a comfortable lead. And then by the time the fourth quarter rolled around, I have to question the coaching of the New York Liberty, because what they were doing was they was trying to just shoot threes all day. In that school, when Vandersloot, even though Vandersloot had 19 points for the game, she kept feigning. She kept feigning. Like, she had Jonquel Jones in the post. Jonquel Jones was a beast in the series. Like, she was one of the reasons why they either were close in the game or they won the game.
And made a concerted effort.
Kept faking it. She kept faking. No, get the ball to her in the hole. By the time she decided to finally throw after two fakes, they were converging on her, double, triple teamed her. So it was no outlet to passing lane to give her the ball. Then they were going to Breanna Stewart, who was shooting atrociously. And then Vandersloot, her shot wasn't really on point. And in that school, she didn't start to heat up until like the fourth quarter, to be honest with you. And then the coach of the Liberty did not decide to call a timeout during the integral parts, important parts of the game. And to me, those were tactical mistakes that could not be something that could be overlooked, man.
Yeah, the Liberty coach.
That's the ending play right there.
Left a lot to be desired in this series, man.
That was the ending play. Look at the last play they drew up, man.
Last play of the game. Why are you shooting a three and you're down two?
Exactly.
But that kind of goes to the point that I was trying to make a second ago with Jones. The Aces. The Aces made a concerted effort to deny her the ball. To your point about Sloot kept faking the ball to her, pump faking and all of that. But I think the Aces, they knew where the strong point for the Liberty were, and they definitely made a concerted effort to shut Jones down, and they were successful. 6 points in a pivotal game, not good. And then the other part about that too is will Jones be back next season? Because she's a restricted. No, she's an I don't know, unrestricted or restricted, but she's a free agent. So there's no telling if she'll be back in the fold next year. But I know the Liberty, they don't have a snowball's chance in hell of getting back to the finals without Jones.
No, they don't. Breanna Stewart has to pick her game up,
man. Other ladies stepping up too, man.
Yeah, Vandersloot stopped feigning and faking moves, and in that school has to be more consistent and also start developing more of a mid-range game as well to go along with her efficient three-point scoring. We know you can hit from long distance, but at the end of the day, you don't always need a three-pointer. As you mentioned, you were down by 1 point. 1 point. All you needed was a 2-point bucket. Jonquel Jones was open in the paint. By the time they were trying to get her the ball, they converged on her. And then at the end of the game, they passed it to Breanna Stewart, who was double and triple teamed. And I have to mention, she was passing very poorly out of those double teams. Like, she didn't know what to do. Like, she was like a deer in headlights. And then by the time they got the ball to the other side of the wing, they had it to Vandersloot, Enescu, and then they passed it to Vandersloot, who was in the corner for a three. They totally iced out Laney out of that game, man. And Laney is a young, athletic baller who can play and compete against the Aces. And they took her, along with Jonquel Jones, totally out of the equation. I think the Liberty definitely have to look at their tactical and coaching methods, and even maybe even examine the roster and see if they need some bigger, tougher players who can, get in there and grind it out with the Aces.
Yeah, the Aces definitely imposed their will on the Liberty, man. And, salute to them again. Salute to Asia Wilson, 24-16 in a closeout game to secure the finals MVP. And during the celebratory parade in Vegas, she was like, hey, we're going to three-peat. We're going to be the first WNBA team to three-peat. What do you think about that?
It's a strong possibility, man, because they have a monster squad. In addition to having their starting point guard and their starting center out for that game, they also have Candace Parker, who wasn't even suited up. That's on that team. So I definitely think that they really stand a chance to hit the trifecta and go for the three-peat, man. In my estimation, man, I see that. That's the word on the street, man, that they the way they have the ability to flip like a pancake, the way they did in the third quarter, I don't see why a trifecta is not in the cards for the Aces, especially if no teams make any adjustments or draft any players that are going to make an impact on the league next season. And I think they're going to bring home a chip. Although I'm still rooting for the Liberty, they got to make some adjustments, man. So moving along from that, the Astros turned the tables on the Rangers live from the Dome. And the last time we were in the arena, and they came and they tied the series up 2-2 by the time the weekend hit. The Astros turned the tables, roughing up Max Scherzer for 5 runs in 4 innings, while the Astros starter JAVIER only allowed 3 hits, 2 runs in 5 2/3 innings. And the Rangers, they were outplayed in that game, and they lost that one 8-5. Then in game 4, they just mashed them 10-3. Jose Altuve, who's another beast of the week, he just was putting up power numbers, man. He was just like so clutch. Like he set records like in the playoffs. He's only second behind Manny Ramirez in total home runs for a playoffs. Manny Ramirez has 29 career playoff home runs. Jose Altuve's at 27.
That's crazy stat. What is Altuve? 5'4", something like that.
5'8". He's 5'8", bro.
Monster, bro.
Yeah, he's definitely a monster too, man. He's definitely one of our beasts of the week, man.
You know who he reminds me of? And don't take this the wrong way. Anybody that's checking in, don't misinterpret my comparison either. But reminds me of Jeter, man. Doesn't necessarily kill you with power and speed and stuff like that. Just makes all the right plays, man. Just a smart player, man. Salute
gives you whatever you need.
Gives you whatever you need when you need
at
it,
that
man.
time. Exactly. So they powered by in game 4. In game 5, Altuve powers the Astros past the Rangers to a 5-4 victory in game 5, hitting a clutch home run towards the end of the game that put the Astros over the Rangers. But not yet. The Rangers came back, man. They weren't out and down and out of it. In this series, it was interesting enough that the home team did not win one game.
Crazy. Crazy.
The Rangers have won 8 straight road games, which ties a playoff record set by the last time that was done was by the New York Yankees. And they went on to win the World Series that year. But the Rangers are definitely, they're road warriors, bro.
Think baseball is a sport of anomalies, man. Like, for instance, the fact that none of the top 2 seeds in either, league made it this far. Well, sorry, not in either league, but it, right now it's looking like no, as a matter of fact, there won't be a top 2 team in the World Series this year.
No, they got knocked out. They got knocked out early. All the chalk was gone by the time last week hit us, man. So
I think Houston was the highest seed left, and no more.
Yep, they're gone. And the thing with that is that the Rangers and Houston had identical records, 90 and 72, right? They both were tied. Houston got the tiebreaker, said they won the division, so they had home field advantage, right? But it didn't matter because both teams are from the state of Texas. So you had Rangers fans going, to the Astros,
that explains
and vice
explains the lack of
versa.
a home field advantage. You're right.
In that instance, it definitely was the case. So in Game 6, the Rangers. Oh, the drama though in Game 5 was Adolis Garcia got hit. He got hit, and then he turned around and was getting in the face of the Houston Astros catcher Maldonado, and then both benches cleared, and then it wasn't a scuffle, but they ejected the pitcher, and Dusty Baker got ejected. And then after that, it sparked the Astros, and then they won the game.
Sparked them to a rally, correct?
Exactly. But then Game 6, after, people was questioning Adolis Garcia's decision-making because they were up 4-2. And we speak about this all the time, about the clutchness of the Houston Astros. You cannot ever count them out. You can have a 5-run lead. They'll score 6. You can have an 8-run lead. They'll score 9. So when Garcia did that, a lot of people was like questioning that. Like, why would you
wake the sleeping giant?
Exactly. Why would you poke the bear? You lose that game. So they were waiting to see what he would do in the following games. And old boy came, and in the last 4 games, he matched 5 home runs. And he just basically powered the Rangers to a victory. So they tied up the series in Game 6. So we all knotted up. Game 7 was last night, man. Guess what happened? Guess what happened, man?
We know what happened.
Yeah, the Rangers came out and matched them 11-4, and they're moving on to the World Series, man. Any thoughts on the chances of the Rangers, winning the whole thing, man?
They can absolutely win the whole thing, but they're gonna have to bring those bats, man. Because Philly's offense is next. Well, except for that last game against Arizona, man. Philly's offense has been otherworldly.
But hold on, no, Phillies. They the last time that we were here in the arena, they were up with a 2-0 lead.
Right.
The Diamondbacks have come back and they've tied the series. The Diamondbacks, they had a walk-off in Game 3. Game 3, they had a walk-off. Their first walk-off since 2002 when they played the New York Yankees with, I don't want to bring up any bad memories for Yankee fans, but it is what it is. Luis Gonzalez hit a bloop single off of Mariano the Great, and they lost that World Series, man. That was the third walk-off for the Diamondbacks in their playoff history, which was by Marte. So they won that game 2-1. Then they came back and they knotted up the series 6-5, out battling the Phillies in Game 4. But then the Phillies came back, and definitely, the Phillies, they have power bats, man. They popped the lead by Carl Schwarber, top of the D-backs. They took them out 6-1 to take a 3-2 series lead. But then the D-backs came back, in Game 6 to force a Game 7, man. And they won that game 5-1. So definitely got to give shout outs to the Diamondbacks because of their resiliency. And the Phillies, the Philadelphia Phillies lineup is stacked, man. And they been setting records. Bryce Harper and your man Kyle Schwarber, between both of them, they've hit like 20-something home runs in the playoffs alone, man. They have been one of the most, I should say, powerful hitting tandems in playoff history, man. Absolutely. So Game 7 is tonight, man. Any predictions?
Philly, man.
You going with Philly?
Going with Philly, man. East Coast love, baby. East Coast love.
I'm going with the underdog, man, the D-backs, man. And the Phillies and the Astros were trying to repeat. The last time that there was a repeat in the World Series was back in 1978 and 77 when the Yankees played the Los Angeles Dodgers, but that's not happening this year since the Astros got bounced. Let's see if the Phillies can hold up their end of the bargain. So we'll talk about that next week, man. But definitely got to give shout outs to Asia Wilson with her monstrous performance in the WNBA Finals. Jose Altuve, he was going to be the MVP of the series. To Adonis Garcia came and put in his work. Now in the National League, you definitely got to big up Kyle Schwarber and Bryce Harper. If the Phillies win the series now, who do you think is going to get the MVP? Schwarber or Harper?
That's a great question, man. That is a great question.
You gonna flip a coin?
Yeah, I guess so. Flip a coin, or whoever has the most runs at the end of the series, that'll probably be the way they determine, you know?
Exactly, man.
Whoever's bat has been more prolific. I think right now it's been Schwarber.
Schwarber, man. And he's a big dude to be a leadoff hitter, man. But
Crushing
he's
him.
definitely doing his thing, man. Definitely did his thing, man. So we're gonna take a look at that game 7 tonight, and then we'll, get into that World Series next week. And we definitely got to move on. NFL helmet to helmet. What game stuck out to you from this past week? What were the matchups that caught your eye before I run through the slate of games?
Well, most recently that Minnesota game, Minnesota and San Fran last night.
That was the upset of the week.
Yeah, that was the upset. Was that the upset of the week?
Yeah, I think so.
More
because
of
they were just talking about
more of an upset than New England over Buffalo.
Yeah, because
it's a divisional game.
I'm a touch on that. First of all, the 49ers, remember we had spoke about that last week. When you take away that two-headed monster, CMC and Debo, what is Brock Purdy gonna do, and how is he gonna fare? Like he didn't play trash, but it wasn't the same. And it's like taking away two of your biggest guns, man. You have to be able to adjust. And the Minnesota Vikings defense was blitzing, and that young wide receiver, Adonis, that they had.
Addison.
He had Addison, excuse me. He had a career game, man.
Monster.
He's the first
that one play where he snatched the interception out of the safety's hand and turned that into a tug, man.
Definitely, he's gonna be a beast. But I'm like, where was this guy all season?
I think that's part of the problem when you gotta focus on a guy like Jefferson, man. You got to get him to rock. That's your workhorse. And sometimes losing one powerhouse offensively causes you to rethink your game plan and your strategy, and it might reveal some other hidden gems. I think that's the case of Minnesota with Addison.
Definitely, man. Definitely. I also saw that your man Kirk Cousins came out to play. He usually loses during the primetime game, but he definitely showed up. And for right now, he's one of the best quarterbacks. But you know what? The NFL is like a week-to-week league, man. Every week, somebody else is the best team, somebody else is the best player, and it has to be adjustments that are made in order to media kind of relax, man. Every week, the stars in the universe doesn't shift every week, man. Like we're crowning like 2 weeks before we were crowning the 49ers. Now, all teams suffer injuries, but going into the playoffs, if they're down CMC or Debo or either one of them are not 100% and they get knocked out during the course of the game, can Brock Purdy do it without Debo and CMC? Is my question.
He should be able to, because you still got Ayuk, you still got Kittle, so it's not like he's going to be bereft of weapons or anything like that. There's still going to be a viable team. It's just he has to play smarter. Some of your timing is off. You don't have Debo to run the routes the way you're not used to the receivers out there running the routes the way Debo would. Ayuk is definitely getting more coverage now and making you throw to other receivers other than Ayuk. So it's just a matter of adapting. But I think Kyle Shanahan is a good enough coach. And, even though they had 2 losses, I think they can bounce back
to back.
Yeah, back to back.
Well, bouncing back. I don't think that they're a lesser team. But what I'm saying is if they go into the playoffs and they have to run up against another elite team, then without CMC and Debo, especially without Debo, there's an interesting stat where Brock Purdy averages 6 yards less per pass attempt when Debo Samuels is not playing in the game. And then CMC, although he played the game, he didn't look like 100%, but the Vikings defense just came in the ball, man. And Kirk Cousins was playing like the Kirk Cousins of, you like that? You like that? He was
Huh?
playing like
Huh?
that, huh?
Like that?
You like that? Yeah, that was at Kirk Cousins last night, man. But the thing is, the defense for the 49ers were not able to out physical manhandle the Vikings.
No, they weren't. They weren't. They definitely, and it's the second game in a row that their defense looked, I won't say suspect, but definitely didn't look like world beaters, man.
Well, they don't look invincible anymore. And I think it
Exactly.
all goes back to having Debo and CMC at 100%. That two-headed monster is a juggernaut, man. And it keeps the other defenses on the field, you know. And if they're constantly have the other team's defense on the field, it gives their defense time to rest up. They on the sideline giggling and laughing, drinking Gatorade, you know what I mean? And just having a good old time. And they could come back fresh and they just get at the other team. But without Debo and CMC in there to run those long scoring drives and to wear the other team down, now it falls back on the defense to perform at an extra high level. And then Brock Purdy has to be otherworldly instead of just playing within the system. He has to definitely step his levels up, man. But we'll see what's going on with the 49ers and see how they bounce back next week. Another interesting game was the Dolphins and the Eagles, which was one of the matchup of the weeks. And they fell to the Eagles 31-17. Any thoughts on that game?
I think towards the middle of the season right now is where teams start to level out. They start to show their true colors. Other teams start to adapt to what they're seeing, and you can game plan a little better for opponents, especially the powerhouses. And then the true powerhouses, you know, like the Eagles and the Chiefs, you know, these are teams that they find ways to win. They knock the dust off, and then they come in and they put their best foot forward, and they show why in the preseason they were teams that were picked to go far in the season and have great success. So I don't want to say Miami is a novelty right now. Their defense is not looking that great. And the offense, it seems like, you know, the word is out. Let's shut down Tyreek, or let's try and keep him contained and make somebody else beat us. And, you know, this week, I don't know if it's the juggernaut that Philly is showing themselves to be, or if they've actually just exposed some things in Miami. But yeah, definitely Miami wasn't ready for Philly. Philly is definitely rising to the top. They're showing that they are definitely one of the elite teams in the league. And I don't even think Hurts is playing that great yet.
No, he's not.
That's
They
another thing.
haven't played their best yet.
Absolutely.
To your point, in the NFL with the power structure, which we'll get into, is you have the top tier teams, like you have the top 3 or 4 teams in each conference, and then after that, man, anybody can beat anybody on any given Sunday, man. The Chiefs held on to their dominance in the AFC, beating the Chargers 31-17. Patrick Mahomes just keeps on rocking and rocking, man. And the kid is, what is he, 30 years old yet? I think he's going to be 30 years old. And he's already got, 2 Super Bowls. He's on pace to smash most of the quarterback records, whether it's a broken, like a sprained ankle, a bum knee, turf toe. The kid just comes back and keeps balling out of control, man. And they suffered that first loss to the Jets.
And have been rolling ever since.
No, excuse me, to the Lions in week 1. And they've been rolling ever since, man. So we definitely going to keep an eye on them because they are probably going to be there towards
hottest team in the league right now.
Time. Well, yeah, absolutely. Moving along, we have the Broncos over the Packers 19-7. We have the Seahawks pipping the Cardinals 20-10. And then you have, which was an interesting game, which I thought was caused by the win was given to the Steelers 24-17, man. I thought the officials did a horrible job towards the end of that game, not calling certain calls in favor for the Rams. And then when it was a call for the Steelers, they threw the flag. And one thing I don't like is, like, let the players determine the outcome of the game. Like, officials, zebras, man, fall back, and let the players decide the game. Don't make a call. And in that instance, like if the wide receiver, if the cornerback or the DB touches the wide receiver, maybe it might be incidental contact, and the ball can't even be caught. Like, don't throw the flag, man. No one could have caught that ball.
Very controversial call.
Unless they were Stretch Armstrong, man, Plastic Man. So I don't even see that, man. But the Steelers is kind of a schizophrenic team to me, man. Because one week their defense always shows up. That's one thing about a Mike Tomlin team, that they're gonna be fundamentally sound on the defensive side, special teams.
Let me ask you a question.
Also, what's that, G?
Do you think Mike Tomlin is overrated?
Not at all.
Not at all.
How can a man that has 2 Super Bowls be overrated? And not just that. Hold on, and not just that, but they have had consecutive winning seasons since old boy's been there, man. I don't want to hear no attacks.
I think last year was his first losing season, right, of his career.
I think they went 8-8. I think they went 8-8.
So right, that's what it was. So that was the first year he did not have a winning season.
Right, but they went 8-8, I believe so. But my thing is, man, like I said, man, I'm not entertaining any attacks against Mike Tomlin until they start attacking whoever else. Like Andy Reid, as I mentioned to you before, I use this as an example. He was with the Philadelphia Eagles, and he went to 5 NFC championship games, and he only won one of them, man, when he had T.O. and your man Donovan McNabb. What's his name? Donovan McNabb. Yeah, correct. on that squad, right? And there was never any talks of questioning Andy Reid's coaching ability, man. So I think once you get 2 Super Bowls, I think you're certified where you can, unless you're doing atrocious. And I don't think Mike Tomlin is doing an atrocious job at coaching. I think he's one of the best coaches. I
was on Twitter, and these were actually Pittsburgh Steelers fans that were criticizing Tomlin. Some of them have made mention of him being as good as he was because of the weapons that he has. I think you could say that about any coach in any sport.
Exactly.
If you don't have ammunition, your weapon is going to be useless. So I think that's not a good reason to consider him overrated. Comparison. But as all fans of their home team, when your team is not performing as well as you can, exactly, you're going to be extra.
You're going to be the most critical. Like how I'm hard on the Knicks. Extra critical. Like I'm hard on the Knicks, extra hard on the Knicks, man. So, I mean, you know what, though? I can't advocate that, man. I think Mike Tomlin is an excellent coach, man. But we're going to see, because if he could, all right, let's look at the Steelers just for one quick second. Besides defense, we know the TJ Watt and that squad is going to bring it every week. But he still has to coach up the other parts of the team. Like, on the offensive side, who on the Steelers scares you? Exactly. So Mike Tomlin got to be doing something right, bro, because there's no one player. They had wide receivers. They haven't had a potent or Pro Bowl otherworldly wide receiver since your man, what's his name? Antonio Brown. Right? So I can't take those knocks on Tomlin, man. Any other games that stood out to you?
No, but shout out to my Giants. Shout out to my Giants.
Yeah, they won against who, man?
Shout out to my Giants. Do it matter? That's right, a divisional game against Washington.
But big win. Though? That wasn't no big win, bro.
It was for me. It was for me. A win in the division is always a big win.
I'll say this: the commies are trash, so y'all should have won that game. And y'all broke a 4-game losing streak, so I give y'all credit for that. on that note, I definitely give y'all credit for that. But now, Saquon Barkley's back, which makes a big difference in the Giants' offense. Now there's clamoring and talks, chirps from Giant fans that Tyrod Taylor is a better quarterback than Daniel Jones. I would say that he's more athletic and he can escape the pressure that the porous offensive line of the Giants have provided during the course of the year, because Tyrod Taylor got sacked like 5 times the previous week. I'm
The
not sure
first game he
exactly.
started. Yeah, the first
Yeah,
game he started.
and they let pressure get put on him this last game also. But I guess he adapted better and was able to maneuver in the pocket a little bit better. But I think the fact that Saquon Barkley is back is a testament to how much the Giants really do need him and how valuable of a player he is. They need to stop playing with Saquon Barkley and pay that man. What are your thoughts on that?
Saquon definitely opens up the offense because of the threat that he represents anytime he's on the field. But the one thing I will say, listen, if Tyrod Taylor was 2 years younger and a hell of a lot more durable, then we would have a quarterback controversy. Tyrod
Right.
Taylor is good for 3, maybe 4 games in a row tops, and then
And
he's
he
going to
gets
be
hurt.
done for the season. And then he's going to be done. At the end of the day, I think this is going to be Jones. This is going to be a make or break season for Jones, because like right now, the talk is
Bro, they paid him 92 mil guaranteed.
the talk from everybody other than the
Talk is
Giants
talk.
front office is that Daniel Jones needs to go. We need to get another QB. QB needs to be the position that we draft. But I think, I don't
But they're
think
not
Daniel
getting rid
Jones,
of him, though.
we're stuck with him for 2 more
92
years.
mil.
We're stuck
Yeah,
with him for 2
exactly.
more years.
He got
So
92 mil guaranteed for the next 2 years. So they could, and then we'll see what happens from there.
But I
man.
think when you have a QB on the bench, a viable option to the garbage you've been putting out there, it's gonna have to make you step your game. I just hope Daniel Jones has been sitting on the bench and paying attention to Taylor and making notes. Tyrod Taylor is not a better athlete than Jones, but he is twice the passer.
He's more elusive.
That Daniel Jones has shown. He just has more awareness. He has more pocket away. He has more game awareness.
That's being elusive. That's being elusive.
I think it's more than just elusive. I think it's aware because some of the passes that he makes,
a sack,
getting the ball out
away
quick
from a sack. Well, that's time and syncing with the offense. But
absolutely, but he's been making better decisions with the ball than Daniel Jones has. So I think
but
a lot of that
goes back to my point. Being more elusive than Daniel Jones has allowed Tyrod Taylor the opportunity to make these plays. As you mentioned, his awareness, whether it's his awareness, he has better footwork. Because I see Daniel Jones trip up on his feet a lot, where Tyrod Taylor, he's a little bit more nimble on his feet, and
Correct.
He's a little bit better at the pocket presence. He has more pocket presence and awareness. I want to suggest to you that Daniel Jones has been hurt for a long time, and I think for the last couple weeks, he couldn't stand to even suit up and be on the field, man. But I think he was playing hurt because if you saw like the first 3-4 games of the season, he was getting hit often. He was getting pressured. He was getting hurried, slammed down to the turf. And I think your boy was playing hurt, man. We're going to move on.
You think he came into the season hurt?
No, he was playing hurt after the first 3 or 4 games. Your boy was getting masked, man. That offensive line was helping him 0%.
Well, yeah, man. he only played. Matter of fact, you're right, because he went out before
he's been out for the second week. He's out now.
But this is the second week, but he didn't finish the last game that he played. So you hit the nail on the head.
He got knocked out, bro. Now, the upset that you did mention was the Patriots 29 over the Bills 25. What stands out to you more? The Bills losing or the Patriots winning? What is more of a statement? Yeah, because I think that the Bills should have handled the Patriots in my estimation. But once again, what type of game was that? Divisional rivalry, man. And then Bill Belichick was going for his 300 victory. And I guess the team brought one home for the Gipper. He brought one home for the Gipper, man. And anything that stood out in that game, your boy Josh Allen, he wasn't all willy-nilly all over the place?
No, I didn't really watch that game. I just saw the outcome and was like, because before, I mean, as recently as right before, kickoff on Sunday, they were calling Mac Jones probably one of the worst quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah.
And for them to pull out a win over, the last couple of years and probably thought to be a contender, thought that they would be or they will be a contender this year. and for them to come out and, and beat Buffalo. But, to your point, it's any given Sunday, especially that's a divisional game. So
they're asking for Bill Belichick to step down. And one thing that I would suggest is that he do one thing or the other. He either be the GM or he be the head coach. But trying to do both, that time has run out, because now, since Brady has left, the Patriots have not, what they won, one playoff game since Brady's left and went to the Buccaneers and then retired. They won one playoff game, and the argument always was it Tom Brady that made Belichick great, or was it Bill Belichick that made Tom Brady great? And I submit to you that in the first 3 chips that they won, it was Bill Belichick, because I was watching the 30 for 30, the tuck rule episode, and Tom Brady and Charles Woodson was lamping in Tom Brady's Tampa, Florida mansion, and they were going through it play by play and the rule and everything. That Tom Brady needed Bill Belichick more. Then as he got older, he started to mature more, and they won the last 3 chips. I think it was more so that the scale tipped in Brady's favor, and now people are calling for Belichick to either make some moves or step down, man. What do you think? Bill Belichick don't get the respect to retire when he decides to?
I think the dude has just put in too much work. He's built up too much carte blanche with that organization for them to try and show him the door. Right. And as much as people have come around to the opinion that it might have been more Tom Brady, the one thing I do say is I think they're coming to that conclusion because of Tampa Bay and everything. But I mean, this dude had an incredible squad around him in Tampa Bay. And you see when he didn't, I'm good. I'm out. I ain't playing. I ain't messing up my legacy. We good. Nah, I'm gonna retire. Hey, Tom Brady, I have an announcement. I want to retire because my team is going to be trash this year, and I'm not going to sit back there and let my 41-year-old self be getting beat up for nothing. So
getting beat up like Daniel Jones.
Absolutely. So you can, you can have an argument on either side, man. I think that's going to be one of those debates that'll go on for a long time. Was it Belichick or was it Brady? I'm firmly of the opinion that it was just a good chemistry, man.
Yeah, like that's one of the
and historically good chemistry.
That's one of the classic old-time debates. Like, is Robert Horry a Hall of Famer? Those never get old, bro. Those never get old.
He is famous.
Those never get old. And moving along, rounding out the slate of games, you had the Browns pip the Colts 39-38. That was an interesting game because once again, the Zebras throwing flags helped out the Browns' cause, and they pulled it out 39-38. But what was interesting to me in this game was last week that defense was otherworldly, and then this week they give up 38 points to the Colts. And if it wasn't for the poor
Garrett, if it wasn't for Garrett with that field goal block,
oh, that was an incredible play where he just jumped over the line. Now, the thing about that, there's a rule is that you can't jump over the center. Right. But you could jump over the other.
You saw that
line,
right? You knew that. Yep.
Right. So if you jump over the center, then you get penalized. But he jumped over I think one or two linemen.
He almost cleared him completely. I think his right toe.
Right,
like
barely nipped him on shoulder.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
that was crazy, man. Myles Garrett is definitely a top-notch, top-shelf defensive player. Right now, they're saying that he's the defensive player of the year. What are your thoughts so far? It's not.
It's too early, man.
It's too early.
Because this week is Myles Garrett. Last week it was Bosa. The first 2 weeks it was Micah Parsons.
Micah Parsons, right?
Yeah,
man.
Any given Sunday, bro. Any given Sunday.
All right, and the Bears without their starting quarterback. What's your your quarterback's name
Fields.
that's on the Bears?
Fields, yeah,
Justin
with his
Fields,
thumb,
man.
with a thumb injury.
See, he was out one game, and I already forgot about him, bro. The backup quarterback stepped in and led the Bears to a 30-12 victory over the Raiders. The Raiders is another schizophrenic team. Your man Devontae Adams was, buzzing and chirping about that he's not playing for wins and losses. He's playing for greatness. But my thing is, Devontae, man, you're just talking about me, I. And, the only one that I saw that ever make me situation work in team was Kobe Bryant. And, God bless his soul. May he rest in peace. But, nah, come on, Devontae. You calling out. So basically, he called out his whole team, coaching staff, everything, man.
You know what that is?
Think about his behavior.
That's karma, man. You got your money. You can't have it both ways, dog. You went to Las Vegas for nothing but the money, man. You should have stayed in Green Bay.
He went to go play with his homeboy.
Yeah, he went to go play with his homeboy that he ain't played
Derek
with
Carr.
since college, but still, you had a good thing going in Green Bay, dog. He went to Las Vegas for the money. He said, I'll be good out there because Derek is out there. That's my man. We blah, blah, blah.
Well,
and Carr's gone. And now you got to sit there and eat that, man. I'm telling you, I have no sympathy, man, for cats that bounce, go to another team for money, and then get to that other team and start complaining about touches or playing time or how they're being used or, especially dudes that get paid a lot of money like he did, So you just got to suck it up, man. You just got to suck it up and play ball.
Pause on to suck it up, but yeah, I get your point, my brother. Rounding out to slate of games, man. The Jaguars were victorious over another team that I think is schizophrenic, and they pulled one out 31-24, man. So the Jaguars are interestingly showing their presence. Their quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, he's definitely a beast, man. I think
second hottest team in the league.
Right. The Jaguars definitely pulled one out, man. And I think that they're a team to watch, man. So
we're straight W's.
Huh?
Real quick, shout out to my man, Austin Clary. Big Tex. Thanks for checking in, baby.
No doubt. Peace. And we're going to move along unless you got anything else to cover on the NFL helmet-to-helmet segment, bro.
No, we good, bro.
Jaguars, man. You got to watch them Jaguars out, man. Moving along, man, reaching the summit. NCAA, man, football. Any games stood out to you this week before I run through the slate of games, my brother?
No, nothing really. I mean, Michigan, powerhouse, stomping Michigan State, but yeah, I think it's, other than that, there's nothing that really stands out that's
well, right now, Michigan is under investigation. Their head coach, Jim or John Harbaugh? He served a 3-game suspension for recruiting violations. And then, I think the same week that he came back, there's now another scandal where they're saying that they have and will
stealing plays
in depthly, where it ain't just stealing plays. They said they were recruiting people to go around to other games and film them with the film, and then they were breaking down the footage afterwards, which is NCAA double rule infraction. You can't do that. You can't go and videotape another team. You can go study film. You can go study film on that team, but you can't go in person and be there in the sidelines or in the stands taking photos and taking films of you, your coaching staff, or your team, your formations, and anything else, man.
Yeah, because I think they're trying to get the calls. Because anybody can get game film on a team, Right. So I don't think there's anything wrong with sending a scout out to watch a game and the scout is videotaping the game and then y'all go back and study the film.
No, it is.
Is there?
Yeah, it's an actual rule from the NCAA that no team is allowed to do that, which is a lot of people are just finding out. And I myself didn't know that you couldn't go to the game. Now, as far as filming, yeah, I can understand that. But just showing up to the game, Like, that's to me is a rule that maybe the NCAA has to revisit and
So
maybe
you're
get rid
saying
of.
there's a rule
There's an
that
NCAA rule
if
where,
if
yeah,
I am affiliated with Syracuse and we're playing the Terrapins next week,
yep,
and somebody goes to the Terrapins game this week,
right,
and we find out that that person that went to the Terrapins game is affiliated with somebody at Syracuse, Syracuse is in violation for just
yes.
going to the game.
No, it's more than just going to the game. Like I said, what they are alleging that Michigan has done is going to the games and not just scout. That in itself is an NCAA rules infraction. So whether you and I agree with it, it's an NCAA rule. Secondly, what is definitely not permissible is them going to the game and then filming it, bringing it back to the team, and then you breaking down the film, the signals, and so forth. That's so they're being investigated for that. But we're gonna have to get more in depth because the names of the alleged people who
Offenders.
are guilty of those infractions are definitely now surfacing. And Jim Harbaugh has denied any connection to this. So that remains to be seen. But nevertheless, Michigan stomped, man. Yo, they're number 2, but I don't know, man, if they are really a number 2 or they're a 1A, 1B type of situation going on. What are your thoughts with Michigan? Because they're ranked number 2, bro.
They're ranked. Who's number one? Is it Oklahoma? No, not Oklahoma.
It's Georgia. 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 They're number 1. Michigan pounded Michigan State. And Michigan calls Michigan State like their
Little
little
brother.
homie, their little brother.
Yeah.
And they mashed them
Little
out
dude that the
49
son give him
to
noogies and stuff.
Definitely noogies. When you go by Neck Road, Michigan slaps them upside the neck all day. Remember we was on
Right.
the D train back in the days, and Neck
Yeah,
Road was coming up,
exactly.
and they would freshmen that were in high school going out there. They was definitely catching it at Neck Road, man. If they went to Grady, Dewey, or Sheepshead Bay, or any of them schools back in the days, man. Moving along though, man. That was a funny one.
What about USC?
USC has
Pretty
kind of been stumbling the last couple
Yeah,
weeks.
they've pretty much fallen out of contention for a title. I mean,
They lost to
for any
Utah.
bowls, much less to be in any title games or anything like that. As a matter of fact, there's a couple of people I've been reading
Mm-hmm.
that have suggested that Caleb Williams should probably sit out the rest of the season.
Why? So he doesn't get hurt?
Exactly. So he doesn't get hurt. He doesn't have a chance to win the Heisman. They're probably not going to a noteworthy bowl game. At this point, he has nothing to gain except padding stats.
Mm.
I think it's hard to tell an able-bodied athlete to not play.
To sit down. That's difficult.
Yeah, that's very difficult.
But they played a ranked team though. Utah, the Utes are no slouches. They tipped them. They pipped them 34-32. USC fell to Utah. But again, that's it's like a rivalry game because they on the same coast and they are more familiar with those opponents as opposed to a team that you may see once every so often, man. But yeah, USC is definitely questionable. Do you think that Caleb Williams is out of the Heisman runnings right now?
Well, put it this way. I think at this point, that's probably the only thing that he has to gain. Is getting in there and trying to solidify his candidacy for another Heisman. It's going to be tough, though.
Yeah, definitely. We're gonna have to keep an eye on that. We're gonna have to cover the Heisman watch coming up in the next few weeks.
Virginia, yeah, and he's definitely looked a little more human the last couple of games too. So I think that's going to play into his Heisman consideration this year also.
Yep. Virginia was the upset of the week, 31-27 over the North Carolina Tar Heels. That was definitely a big upset. But again, in conference rivalry on any given game, any given Saturday, Friday light, Saturday, or whenever they play, in conference games are definitely the hardest games to win in football. Moving along with the rest of the slates of the games, UCLA tops, well, not tops, they whopped Stanford 42-7. Minnesota pipped Iowa, which was an upset because Minnesota's not ranked and Iowa was ranked number 24, 12-10. Tulane bounces North Texas 35-28. My alma mater, Air Force, beats Navy 17-6. Mizzou beats South Carolina 34-12. LSU just mollywopped Army. Sorry, Army. 62-0, man. My cousin's in the Army, man. Sorry y'all had to take that L, bro. And we discussed USC falling to the Utes 34-32. Ole Miss beats Auburn 28-21. Alabama beats Tennessee 34-20. Oregon keeps rolling 38-24 over Washington State. Houston falls to Texas 31-24. Oklahoma, number 6 Oklahoma, keeps rolling over UCF 31-29. I thought that was a closer game than it was going to be, though. UCF is not really known for football. They're more known for basketball, so that kind of surprised me. And I actually saw their volleyball team play over the weekend also. Women's volleyball, they're definitely getting it in, man. Those tournaments have been crazy. I just think that they put their games in the wrong time slots. Sorry you had to digress. Washington keeps rolling. There goes your boy, Michael Penix Jr. He didn't have like a stellar performance, but yeah, they pulled out the victory 15-7 over Arizona State. Ohio State, number 3, Ohio State beats number 7 Penn State 20-12. That was a hard-hitting game, man. Not a lot of offense, but they were definitely hitting hard, man. Any changes in the top-ranked teams as you see? Well, we know North Carolina is going to take a hit.
Yeah, I don't know who fell out, but other than Carolina.
All right. So we're going to definitely keep an eye on reaching the summit, man. It's been kind of quiet for the Colorado Buffaloes since Coach Prime had to what would you call, reprimand and discipline his team verbally last week by saying that he had to question that their love for the sport. You can't just like football. You got to love it. It's like, because who wants to go out there and be in collisions getting hit by other people with equipment and helmets on and only like it? You got to love that. It's like you can't like boxing. You can't play boxing. You have to love boxing and you have to really put your all into it, because one simple mistake or one error could cost you a lot, especially in collision sports like football, man. So
yeah, you got to love the sport to your point, to throw on those pads and get out there and take that punishment, man. There's only a love of the game that will do that. Yeah. But I've said it before and I'll say it again, salute to Coach Prime and everything he's doing, from Jackson State all the way over here to Colorado. Mm-hmm. But I was kind of disappointed in that press conference last week, him implying that the team needed to have more love for the game or more heart or be as dedicated as he was. And,
I don't. I agree with him. I agree with him.
But I can understand his point. But my thing is, it's more than that. What are you going to do when you don't think they have the love, or when it seems like they're not into it? I've always said
that's where coaching comes. That's where his coaching.
I've always said that's the difference between ex-players, well, rather ex-stars who go into coaching, and players who weren't stars that had a chance to observe the game a little more. Maybe didn't get as much playing time. Maybe stayed a little closer to the coach. These are the guys that bring the best out of other guys when the other guys are not performing up to level. It takes that coach to get you to that next level.
His resume doesn't suggest that, though, because
what resume?
His resume at Jackson State doesn't Jackson State University doesn't suggest that. I mean, I've heard you say this more than one occasion, but you can't blame Coach Prime for the player.
I'm not
Hold
blaming
on, let
him.
me finish, because you keep saying that about Prime, and I have to take the opposite stance on that because I don't agree with you. And the reason why is he's not the one on the sidelines flashing Rolex watches, or when they score, trying to dance like Prime and try to move like Prime, when everything all is well when they were winning. But now when they face adversity and they start losing now, how are they going to bring that to the table now? How do you recover from a loss? And I don't think all of that is on Coach Prime, because we've already spoken on this, that he's a very competent coach and he can bring the best out of his players. But I think that the players got caught up in the media attention and hype. You got people like The Rock,
media and attention
flying
hype
into
that
Colorado.
that the coach allowed.
He didn't allow
He
that.
did allow it. You had Wu-Tang Clan and actors and ex-football players and all kind of shit on the sideline of your game.
He can't
it was
a
circus, man. It was a circus.
Bro.
You can control that.
So you blaming Prime for that?
I'm not blaming him, but I'm saying he could have done a better. I'm just telling you, I didn't like his message. Bro. I'm telling you, I didn't like his message. His team didn't step up. Prime don't play on the field.
Call out players all the time.
Prime don't play on the field, so I can't blame him for what Colorado did. But what I can say is he needs to do a better job of motivating his players. So that's where coaching comes into play.
Well, how do you? All right,
you can't stand on the side and call your guys out, man. You got to find a way to motivate them.
It was a press conference.
Even worse, you got to find a way to motivate them, man. You get up there and you say, you know what, man, I need to come up with a better plan. We all need to. We need to be better. We need to blah, blah, blah. Maybe that's not the case, though. But that should be the case. That should be the case, because it's not. You don't point the finger at one aspect. I mean, unless somebody was that awful, was that horrible, then you can say, you know, whatever, you know, that was uncharacteristic, or so-and-so don't normally play like that, or that was a phenomenally bad, an uncharacteristically bad performance. All right, so when they were winning, why weren't you calling out Prime then? If he's such a non-motivating coach? I said that before. I was like, I said there's a lot going on. I said there's a lot going on. We could both agree to that. There was a lot going on, and I think it was all of that stuff was, you know, it wasn't a distraction, and it was all good and well when they were winning. But once they started losing, now you don't see him with the shades on no more in press conferences, and then you getting in there and you talking about players gotta love the game like you love the game. You recruited these dudes. Why are you recruiting people that don't love the game? Some of the players he recruited, some of them were already there, and some were walk-ons. He got rid of who he didn't want there. So he wanted everybody that's there at that program. It's not about who was left, like one of the players, they were arguing with him. He was on the sideline after they made a mistake on the field, and he was calling the player over to speak to him, to coach him through the mistake that he made, and the player just like waved him off. That's not on Prime. That's not on Prime, but man. Was Prime going to coach him, or was Prime going to try and give him some kind of? He's the coach. Again, why are you so hard on Prime right now? I'm not feeling it. I don't know why, because like I said, I don't like his message. He said one thing. This is a question that I have with you. How do you know that he's not motivating his players? So you get out in a press conference and you call them out in front of everybody? That's one time. Maybe that's what they need, man. Okay, we'll see. Maybe that's what they need. Maybe that's what they need, is to be called out. We shall see. But like I said, we're gonna table that one for now. Shouts out to CJ Lurid. Check it out, brother. Saying goes, appreciate the love, brother. As your famous saying goes, man. Luckily, you my brother, man. 2 and 5 teams don't get to front. But because you're wearing it, I'll let it slide, man. What are y'all, 2 and 4? 2 and 5, brother. You said it the first time. All right. No, 2 and 4. 2 and 4. Yeah, we 6 games. 2 and 4. All right, that's what's up, though, man. But footballers, y'all got the Jets coming up this weekend, so we'll see. That's gonna be an interesting game. I want you to give exclusive coverage on that game, man. Exclusive coverage, man. Stop calling out Coach Prime, because there's coaches every week that call out their players, man, and sometimes it's used as a motivational tool. But I haven't heard any feedback from that
since that press conference.
Well, maybe there's nobody else that
They're
agrees with
keeping
me,
it in
but
house.
maybe nobody else agrees with me. But like I said, man, get up there and accept some blame. Say we need to do better. We something like that. Because
maybe what's going on is they're not matching the X's and O's that's coming from the coaching staff. Like,
could be.
I think they just got caught up in the hype, man. But I think that we need to get into the NBA tips off this evening. So we're gonna get into that, man. You got your previews, your power rankings.
Finally, let's go.
Finally,
let's go.
Let's get into it, man. The East West preview and the rankings. That's on you, man. Oh, salute to T Spoon. And I have to ask you something here. Excuse me. The Teresa Witherspoon hiring by the Chicago Sky.
Dope. Salute.
What does it mean for the women in the coaching arena? And then also, how do you think that will improve her legacy?
It's a great hire, and I'm proud, man. I've always admired Spoon, man, from back when she was on the team in New York representing
New York Liberty.
Yeah. Most recently she was in New Orleans as part of that coaching staff.
Right.
And I don't know if she was let go or she left or whatever. From my understanding, she had has a very close relationship with Zion Williamson. And when the talk of, him potentially looking to go elsewhere because he didn't like the treatment, or could it have been that because they let Spoon go, that's why Zion wanted to leave? I don't know, but either way, she's always been a great leader when she played, man. Highly motivational Hall of Famer. She brings a lot to the table, man, and I'm anxious to see how that works out. Salute to her, man. I'm real happy for her.
Giving an update right now, the Nuggets are leading the Lakers 40-24 in the second quarter. That game is on TNT. So you want to get into your previews for the Eastern Conference, then to the West Conference?
Shouts out to the NBA. NBA season starts tonight, and there's a lot of things going on in the league this year. A lot to look forward to, and a lot to look out for. As far as my rankings, this is really a hard sport to try and come up with preseason rankings. So what I'll do is I'll do the top 6 in each conference, and that'll exclude the 2 playoff teams and anybody that potentially won't make the playoffs. But coming out of the East, I have the 2 big dogs in the East, Boston and Milwaukee, of course, the 2 big trades that they made this offseason. Boston acquiring Kristaps Porzingis and Drew Holiday, one of my favorite players in the league. Right. And Milwaukee picking up Dame Dollar and Dame and Giannis finally having superstars beside them to help carry the load. That should be very interesting. Right. And then rounding out the top 6 in the East, we have Philly, Cleveland, Miami, and New York. Not certain about that order.
I was just about to ask you where you see the order. Like between Milwaukee and Boston, those are the 2 front runners in the East. Who do you see coming in third position?
In the third position? Yeah. That's a toss-up because there's too many moving parts right now. I think Cleveland has the talent to get that third position. Philly, of course, provided Embiid has another stellar year and James Harden gets his head out of his ass and realizes that this is a make or break season for him, that could propel Philly to heights that they've not, achieved yet. Miami is always a big question mark
So speaking of Philly, man, your man Harden, man, again, what's his problem, man? You get that problem. Get on Harden, man. Get that Harden hard body right now, bro. Like he's holding out again, man.
I just don't even understand how, like, who his representation is. Like, who's in your camp, brother? Who's giving you advice?
Not you and me.
Talking about, you gotta go to LA. You're not owed anything, man. You're not owed anything. And I think every stop he's had since Houston, I don't think it's been successful. I think probably last year was the best season that he's had record wise, and as far as they got outside of, when they went to the final, well, outside of when they went to the Western Conference Finals in OKC against Golden State. Outside of that, I don't think he's gotten as far as he got last year with Philly. And, for him to toe the line that he deserves another max contract. I mean, the talk was that the reason he's mad at the GM for Philly was he was promised another max contract. And, who in their right mind is giving James Harden more than $40 million? I can't even see a team giving him $40 million. I could see a team probably that's contending, that's right there on the cusp, that needs a guard, needs a little scoring punch or whatever. I could see somebody probably making a move for him. But outside of that, I don't think James Harden, especially at the stage of his career as he is now, I don't think he brings enough to the table for him to act the way that he does. And to me, like I said, he's on the last year of his current deal. And the way he's acting now, I mean, any team in the league, I don't want no cat like that. Not showing up for games. You used to wear the fat suit back in Houston. You forced your way out of Brooklyn to get to Philly because you thought Philly was going to give you a payday. Now you're not showing up for practice because you mad at, I'm over James Harden.
I think he's watched too many episodes of Ballers, man. I
think he's standing in the mirror too much, man. He's too much about himself, man.
You can't even see his face, though. He's got all his hair. You can't even see his face. Like, he's just like here, the beard. And the beard's not even the beard now. It's like the mountain man beard. Like, he never saw a razor in his life, a clip in his life, man.
To my point, I think Philly, if everything comes together, man, and they put their best foot forward, they can. I think
get rid of him, because you're doing Joel Embiid a disservice. You're doing Maxey a disservice. Let Joel Embiid give you another MVP caliber year.
Getting rid of him is not that easy because number one, you got to send him to a team that wants him and a team that's going to give you fair value in return. I don't think either of those teams exist.
Bro, it's not showing up, man. You might have to take an L at some point, man, or either have him just, hijacking your season, because right now he's holding this season for hostage. So I suggest Maxey step up. Embiid, you know what he already brings to the table. And then they surround Joel Embiid and Maxey with some solid players. And I think that they should vie for that third position in the Eastern Conference. Along with the Cavs.
They got the talent to do it. So
along with the Cavs and the Knicks. Oh, can't forget Miami. So, I mean, after you said the first top two dogs in the Eastern Conference, after that is highly questionable.
Absolutely. I think if I had to pick two more teams, if we were going under the old playoff standard of the top 8 teams, I think rounding out the East, I would put, I don't know, Toronto and probably Indiana. As the last two teams. There's no telling. But moving on to the Western Conference, we have the two big dogs, the Phoenix Suns and the Denver Nuggets, the two top dogs in the Western Conference, expected to be in the Western Conference Finals. And I think rounding out the top 6, we have the Lakers, Golden State, Dallas Mavericks, and Memphis
Grizzlies.
Memphis.
Is it your boy, when your man Ja coming back?
I think Ja is out 20 games.
25
games.
Yeah, he's out 25 games.
25
games. That
games.
affect the team and their bid in the playoff standings?
I think Derrick Rose will go a long way to determining. Do they still have Tyus Jones as their backup? Okay. So I don't know. I guess Jones would start and then Rose come off the bench, probably. I'm not certain. But they also traded for Marcus Smart,
right?
Who they got in the fold. So I definitely think, defensively, I don't think they've missed a step. And you got to take into consideration how well Memphis has done historically without Ja.
Right.
Still have Desmond Bain, still have the reigning Defensive Player of the Year and Jaren Jackson Jr. So I might be selling those dudes low for real.
Phoenix to Phoenix, you have them behind the Nuggets or ahead of the Nuggets right now? We know it's preseason, but I
I
mean,
mean,
we know it's
that,
early. The season's just starting. But do you
if you're
have
going
them?
by what's on paper, how could you discount
Because they
Phoenix?
got KD, Bradley
Booker,
Beal, and Booker, right?
Booker, and then
Which
they
are
get
three of the
Tom. Then
most,
they get Williams from Boston
I believe so.
in that trade for Drew and Dame. Well, not for Drew and Dame, like a 3-team trade where
Oh,
Portland ended up getting Aiton.
yeah, dominating your man, dominating,
Dominating.
dominating. You was
Oh
like, yo,
man.
nobody calls him that. I still laugh about that to this day. No
Yeah,
one calls him
I agree.
dominating.
That we'll see if he lives up to that. But rounding out the last two of the top 8 spots, coming in at 7 and 8, I have Minnesota and New Orleans. I think Zion will stay healthy this year, and another year of them playing together. I think Bi has the most to prove. Brandon Ingram,
Right.
Zion just has to stay healthy, but
Yeah, he has to
Ingram
stay
has to
healthy.
prove. But Ingram has to prove that he's a team player, man. For real, for real.
Correct.
More than anything.
Because wasn't he in where was he with the Lakers or Brooklyn? Where was he at before?
Yeah, he was with the Lakers.
Okay,
he was with LA.
With the Lakers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely. So in season 20, that's a new thing that the NBA is introducing.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see. I think it's a knockout round, and
but the
I think
games
it's
count. The games count for the season, right?
the games count. They run
but it's
from
a tournament style.
It's a tournament style. The games that will count towards the tournaments will only be played on Tuesday and Thursday. The tournament begins November 3rd.
Okay.
Which is my son's birthday. No, it's not. It's the day after my son's birthday. Shout out to my baby boy, Ak.
Shout out,
Ak
nephew.
Boogie.
That's not the one that looks like Justin Fields, is it?
Man, y'all don't leave my son alone, man. That's Tyson, man. Tyson.
Oh, that's Tyson. Okay,
yeah,
okay.
Tyson alone, man.
But no, he got the braid. Don't he have the cornrows and everything?
Nah, he used to have the braids. He just got the bush now. He just got. He looked more like Caleb Williams now.
Oh, really? Oh, since he blew it out. All right.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Any light skinned athlete with a bushy afro, man. My pops has to screenshot it and group chat the family. Yeah, man, it's crazy. Group chat the family, showing everybody. Look at my grandson. It's
shout
crazy.
out to Tyson, funny. Man, because when I saw Justin Fields,
shout
I
out
was like, yo,
my dogs.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so it's
20 is interesting. That's going to be
67 games comprise the it'll be 67 games total in the tournament, 3 groups of 5 teams.
Okay.
And the tournament runs from November 3rd to December 9th.
Okay. Any dog that you see coming out of that?
Man, that is just
because you're going to get a trophy or something, right? Like a commissioner's
trophy.
I
believe. Exactly. I believe there is some type of trophy that goes along with being the team, the last team standing. But man, the format alone is confusing enough.
Right. So I was going to ask you,
trying to figure out who's going to be the last team standing in this joint.
I was going to ask you if we could go through that bracket and we try to break it down next week. Right. So maybe that's something
we'll look into that.
I would definitely want to know how the tournament is going to work, how the brackets are set up, and what the method to that madness is going to be. But it's interesting. The NHL is actually doing something like that as well, calling it a frozen frenzy. And they have all 32 NHL teams playing tonight in 15-minute staggers. Every game starts 15 minutes apart. So that's definitely something that's going to happen in the NHL also. Question, who do you think is going to be top candidates for Rookie of the Year in the NBA?
Well, you got Wemby and Chet. You got Victor Wembanyama. You got Chet Holmgren. Okay. And the dark horse bringing up the rear is Scoot Henderson from Portland. Me personally, I doubt the durability of Wembanyama. I don't think he'll stay healthy enough.
What is
But
he? 7'4", 240,
7'4" or
230?
7'6"? I think he's like 7'6" or something like that.
Well,
7'5", but
anywhere
yeah, still
between
like
7'4", 7'6". At 230, he kind of thin, right?
yeah, and tall players, tall, lanky players, man, suffer a lot of foot injuries. I think there will be, I won't say load management, but I think
They're gonna keep an eye on him.
they'll definitely be watching his minutes. I'd be surprised if they didn't have him under some kind of minutes restriction this season, especially since they really won't be playing for anything this year either. I think, Wembanyama is going to be, he's incredible. I've seen it. I was kind of a doubter, but the crossovers, the step backs, the passing, and the defense.
Okay.
The defense is incredible, man. You're not shooting anything if that dude is standing within 6 feet of you.
Right. His wingspan, bro. His wingspan is crazy.
Yeah,
I haven't seen somebody with
incredible.
a wingspan like that since KD, man.
Right. So my dark horse for rookie of the year is Chet.
Okay.
I think
so. That's
Chet,
your pick. That's your pick.
That's my pick right now. That's my pick right now. As a matter of fact, that's my pick.
Eye on that. We'll keep an eye on that.
But I think Scoot has a great chance because Scoot is gonna get, playing time out the ass.
Right.
That team Portland is expected to do nothing. I think they're gonna give Scoot carte blanche to do what he wants, and provided he can put the ball in the basket, man. He's definitely gonna put pressure on Chet and Wemby for that rookie of the year.
So if he's playing on a bad team and performs well, you think he still can win the rookie of the year?
I think so, because I think the other two teams with the most prominent,
Spurs aren't going to be that good.
I don't think the Spurs are going to be that good. And then it seems like
Chet is on what, Oklahoma?
Yeah, it seems like OKC is just in a forever tank mode or something like that. I don't understand. Like they value draft picks more than they value W's or something.
But some teams are satisfied just to make money and not win. So
so to your point, I definitely think the team with the best record out of those three gives their respective player the best chance to win the rookie of the year this year.
Got you. Let me ask you a question before we wrap it up. How will CP3 work in Golden State?
That's a good question. Right now they're talking about, well, initially they was talking about him starting with Steph, which I think defensively, just because of their ages, would have been a challenge. But having those two dudes in the backcourt, man, like there's the potential for that, is just crazy, because CP is the ultimate floor general, and Steph is the greatest shooter, greatest shooter in the game. So that right there could potentially lead to be a lethal combination. I think a lot of people have put CP in the starting lineup because of the status that he's had and as respected as he's been over the league and the type of player that he has. It's kind of hard to imagine him coming off the bench, for anybody on any team. It's certain players that when they get to that point where they're not starter worthy anymore, they just hang it up, as opposed to just, and you got guys like Derrick Rose that just love the game. I just love the hoops. I don't care if I'm coming off the bench. I don't care if I'm starting. Just I'm gonna get out there and I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna do what I can. I don't know that people look at Chris Paul the same way, but if they can figure it out, if they can make it work, I think Golden State has as good a chance as anybody to get back there. I definitely think they can get to the playoffs again. It just depends on how they do that lineup, that rotation. So we'll see.
Schematically, that's what I was going to say. I think they might have a defensive disadvantage at times with Curry and CP3 on the floor at the same time, depending on the matchups. But that's definitely one that we're going to watch. So we covered the best of the West, covered the beast of the East. Any closing thoughts, bro?
No, the NBA season, man, it's going to be crazy. That's my sport. That's what I'm looking forward to. It's crazy as a Knicks fan to be so enthusiastic about the season every year and to end it on such a disappointing note. Last year, however, was different. So definitely have something to look forward to as far as a Knicks fan. But as an NBA fan, there are just so many stories, so many storylines in the league this year. You have, Zion's health. You have what will Miami do? Remember they lost two key players. Two of their key guards that helped get them to the finals. What's going to happen in Philly with Harden? Does Embiid want to stay there? Does he not? You have Cat in Minnesota. Will he stay there? Will Minnesota move Cat and totally hand the keys over to AE? So there's a lot that remains to be seen. The Lakers, will LeBron and AD hold up for the duration of the season? That's definitely something to look out for. What about the Clippers? Will Will Kawhi be healthy this season? What will he do? How will the Clippers finish? You got PG and Kawhi, and you got Russell Westbrook, and if they stay healthy, it's definitely in the realm of possible. It's definitely a possibility for them to be. I mean, they have the talent to be a top 4 or 5 team in the league, with health. So that's the question mark there for the Clippers. So, and then of course you got my Knicks. I don't think anybody outside of Knicks fans are wondering what's going on with the Knicks, but can we do better than the 5th seed that we were last year?
Correct.
Will we swing and make a big move? Right now that the talk is us giving up 3 starters, a bench player, and 2 first-round picks to bring Embiid in the fold. And I don't think there's a player in the league right now worth RJ, Julius, Mitchell Robinson, Evan Fournier, and 2 or 3 first-round draft picks. There is not a player, not Ja, not Zion, not Tatum, not Steph, not nobody.
To dominating, you mean dominating?
Not dominating.
Oh, the last time the Knicks did that, it brought Melo Anthony to New York, man.
Right. And we fill seats and games are great, and we ain't do shit.
Right. All right, man. We definitely got a lot to watch, man. We're gonna keep our eyes open, man, on all of those things that you touched upon. We definitely gonna try to do. We're gonna definitely try to do it better next time. Yo, Virginia Slim, man, I ain't see you on the set today, man. Shout out to the iRant Network, the Ranters Union.
Ranters Union. Shouts out.
Definitely Mills Lane.
Shouts out to 757.
718. Brooklyn.
Shouts out to 718. Shouts out to NY.
Word up, man. We're gonna try to do it.
Shouts out to Big Blue, getting number 2.
Man, I ain't even gonna rain on your parade, man, because those guys were so happy.
Don't be a hater. They were
so happy, man. And
don't be a hater.
Yeah.
Shouts out to Logic too, man.
Yeah, Ja Logic, man. Shouts out, man. Shout out to everybody out there, man. Sports in the city. Rep that brand, sports in the city, wherever you are, man. The East Coast, West Coast, the South to the North, man, all over, man. Shout out to you, BK Time, my man, my partner in crime, man. 50 grand.
Peace, brother.
All the time, man. Logic, man. Peace. See you next time.